back again with another video. So today's video is going to be my top 14, but I guess I could say top wash day tips. So if you're this far into the video, don't forget to hit the subscribe button down below. Hit the button for me, period. But anyway, yeah, hit the subscribe button, join the curly girl gang. We lit over here. Big hair, big dreams, and even bigger goals, period. Like, that's what this year is about. It's about your goals, goal setting, and going to get what you want, because this is the time. The time is now, sis. What are you waiting on? But anyway, yeah, like I was saying, let's get into today's video. So number one is always use water. Whether you're high porosity, low porosity, before I do anything, I make sure I add water. And for me personally, because I'm low porosity, I add water, and I add warm water before I even add a product to my hair. I add warm water when I'm detangling. Water is key, sis. For low porosity, if you're low porosity, it's key, okay? Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. I don't do a dab of that cold water stuff, cool water. I grew my hair almost waist length in 3 years. I don't do the whole cool water thing. I don't believe that you need to use cool water to have healthy hair. That's just my personal opinion. But yeah, some people may feel otherwise. I may get dragged for this, but that's okay. Number two, clarify. If you're low porosity, I feel like if you're any porosity, you do need to clarify your hair. Whether you're low porosity, high porosity, you need to get, but I would say it's more, you more so need to use it when you're, or use clarifying shampoos or things like that when you're low porosity, because your strands do not open up like how they're supposed to. You have to add heat and all that good stuff. And sometimes you do suffer from product buildup. I am one of those people. If I do not do what I'm supposed to, or if I wait too long, I have product buildup. So that is number one, or not number one, number two. So yes, please clarify your scalp, sis. Clarifying your scalp clears your scalp, allows your hair to grow. If you have product on your hair does not have room to grow. You're suffocating your follicles, and they don't have any space to flourish. And that's what 2020 is about, sis. Flourishing, okay? You can apply this to life. Clear out the clutter and allow yourself to flourish, okay? Number three, if you don't do braid outs or twist outs, start doing so. Even if you do them every so often, because I know some people prefer to do wash and goes just because they're quick and easy. But if you don't do braid outs, twist outs, please, I highly suggest doing that. That's all I've done for 3 years. I don't do wash and goes personally. I don't feel like they work for me. Will I try to figure out something that works? I like the look, but if it's just not for me, it's not for me, sis. And I really don't feel like it's for me. So yeah, I go with what I know, and what I know is braid outs, twist outs, and that's just what works for me and my hair. Also, I have read articles about if you do a lot of wash and goes, of course, like we're with curly, naturals or whatever, you have curlier hair, so your hair tends to knot up against itself. So if you're doing a lot of wash and goes, you tend to get a lot of single strand knots. I rarely ever get single strand knots, and I don't do wash and goes, but I'm not gonna say like I don't get them, because I get them, sis. But I rarely ever get them, and I don't do wash and goes. So I don't know if that says something, I don't know. But yeah, it is what it is. We're more prone to it. So putting more tension on your hair creates those single strand knots, or what we call fairy knots. Tip number 4. Okay, so tip number 4, I suggest, even if you're high porosity or low porosity, using apple cider vinegar rinses. I just started them last month. I've never used them before last month, and I can honestly say they have changed my life. Like, really, guys, I'm so serious. It removes everything off of my scalp. I don't have to do too much. And when I apple cider vinegar rinse, I don't use any harsh clarifying shampoos. I just, CoWash or whatever. But that is what works for me. Like, it tremendously helps. It adds shine to my hair, because after you know, having so much product on your hair begins to look dull. And apple cider vinegar brings your hair back to life. And I mix 1 part apple cider vinegar, 3 parts water, and works the charm. Seriously. But if you don't want it that strong, you know, tailor it for you. What works for you. That's just what works for me. So yes, whatever hair porosity, whatever hair type, I suggest apple cider vinegar rinses at least once a month. Key, sis. Key. Also, tip number 5, I suggest using oils, and y'all may drag me for this, okay? But I'm just talking about what I suggest and what works for me. So, I oil my scalp with blends of oil that have grapeseed oil, almond oil, and peppermint oil. I look for those key ingredients. I oil my scalp with these oils. People will say that nothing aids in hair growth, but oils help. Oils in a routine. I can't say, oh, just oil your scalp and your hair will grow. No, you need a routine as well. I use, like I said, a blend of those oils on my scalp, and my hair has improved tremendously. Also, I am suffering from postpartum hair shedding or hair loss, and I'm getting it like double fold because I got pregnant with my son right after I had my daughter, and I didn't experience my shedding after then. So now it's just like it's hitting me harder than ever. So yes, I have been using oils that have those 3 oils in them, and my hair has been coming back. Like, my edges don't look like, of course they're still a little thin, but they don't look as thin as they were like last month. Literally, guys, like for real, use a lightweight, not a heavy oil. I don't suggest using, I don't like using castor oil on my, like, just straight castor oil on my scalp. I don't do that. Me personally, I use a blend of oils that is lightweight, because like I said before, I'm low porosity, and using an oil that is too heavy will definitely weigh my hair down. And that's why I don't use straight castor oil by itself. So tip number 6 is deep condition. All hair types, all of them. Especially if you're a person who uses apple cider vinegar rinses, you need to deep condition. And especially if you are low porosity, because you're stripping your hair of everything. If you're clarifying it, you're stripping your hair of everything. And also because of how dry your hair gets, you need to beat that moisture back into those strands. So I suggest deep conditioning, and deep conditioning with heat. I know a lot of people don't have, you know, like the tools that they need, but I have a deep conditioning cap that I got from Thermal Hair Care. It's not too pricey. It's very affordable, and all you do is pop this baby in a microwave and put it over your head. They also send you out shower caps that you can put over your hair, because this is not machine washable, so you have to preserve it, and of course, you know, utilize it as needed. Yeah, so you get a shower cap, or me personally, I run out of shower caps, so guess what I do? I use a plastic bag. I tie a plastic bag over my head, you know, and I put this deep conditioning cap over it, and I let my deep conditioner sit in for an hour. And that's just because I'm low porosity. That's just what works for me. I've seen my curls the best when I deep condition for an hour. Anything less than an hour, not gonna lie, my curls are trash, sis. Like, trash, for real, for real. So I suggest, if you're low porosity, deep conditioning for more than an hour. But if you're high porosity, you don't want moisture overload, so I would suggest deep conditioning for maybe 30 minutes or 20. But you guys know your hair, and you know what's best for you. What's best for me may not be best for you, but I'm low porosity, and deep conditioning for an hour, nothing more, nothing less, works for me. Tip number 7 is use a very lightweight oil before taking down your hair. I'm one of those people, when I take down my hair, I get a lot of frizz depending on what products I use, but I've noticed if I just coat my hands with oil and just run my thumb in between my sections, I don't get a lot of frizz. So tip number 7, use oil on your hands as you take down. It just creates a lot of slip. Or if you want to, you can use your favorite moisturizer, whatever you want to use, just something that will take away friction and just allow you to slide your fingers right through your hair. So tip number 8. Tip number 8 is always use sections. Like, I cannot stress this enough. Once I started doing that this year with my hair, putting my hair in sections when I wash it, when I detangle, it helps so much. Because natural hair, I don't know, my hair always has had a mind of its own. So when I detangle it, comb through it, and I have the sections too close together, they just kind of end up like meeting together, and then I have to detangle and take it apart and do too much. But guess what? If I create sections, put them in braids, wash my hair in these braids, deep conditioning in these braids, have these braids in after I rinse everything out, it's easier. You don't have to go through and part your hair anymore. Just before, you know, when you detangle, part your hair and put your hair in sections according to the style that you want to create. So if I know I'm doing a half up, half down, I may do 4 braids here, 2 braids up here. Because then the 2 braids that I have up here, I can just put up in, you know, like my little bun in the front or something after I moisturize it. So style your sections according to whatever you're going to do with your hair. Number 9, I suggest using CoWash, but don't drag me for how I'm about to say I use it though. I use CoWash as a detangler. I don't use CoWash. I feel like CoWash does not, and I mean, y'all may not agree with me, but it's okay because I know what works for me and it may work for you. So I do not use CoWash to cleanse my scalp or anything like that. It just doesn't work for me. Like I said, I'm low porosity. I always suffer from buildup, which is, you know, like you will notice after time, you will suffer from buildup. I just don't utilize it. It's not something that I use in my wash day, my actual like washing my hair, but I use it as a detangler, like I said, because I don't want breakage. And I've learned that when I use CoWash as I'm doing my hair or detangling my hair, I experience less breakage. So drag me if you want, sis, but CoWash as a detangler is where it's at. Because what else am I going to use it for? What else? So tip number 10, I touched on this a little bit with using more protective styles, but tip number 10 is don't always do wash and goes. If you're a wash and go person, don't always do wash and goes. Try to switch it up. Try to use maybe one product, you know, when you do a wash and go. Maybe use, you know, just a gel, you know, or something like that. I don't too much know about that. I don't do wash and go, so don't drag me for that. But like I'm saying, just don't do too many of them, because like I explained before with the using protective styles, that tip, you can create a lot of fairy knots, and doing a lot of wash and goes will not help you retain length. More protective styling and styles with less manipulation allow you to retain your length, because you're not touching your hair as much as you would if you did a wash and go. So tip 11 is switch it up. So by that, I mean switch your products up. I know you may have that product, that one product that you just love, but after a while, your hair will get used to the product and it will not react the same way. So switch it up, sis. I suffered from this when I first went natural. I used to use the same product over and over and over again. And then I would be like, oh my gosh, it's not working on my hair. Like, it's just not, my hair's just acting crazy with it. But it's because my hair built up a resistance to this product. So try to switch it up. You know, get you a nice little stash of maybe 3 or 4, you know, companies, or, you know, a couple products that you can keep in rotation. Because if you don't, your hair definitely will get used to the routine that you have very fast, and it will not respond the way that you want it to. You want to keep your hair guessing. Like, what's this? I like this. I don't really mess with that. These two don't really go together, but you want to make sure you keep your hair guessing so that it does not get used to the styling products that you're using. Tip number 11, trim your hair often. Like this, you know, back in the day when you used to wear hair straight or whatever, they used to say, oh, trim your hair if you want your hair to grow. No, having a routine makes your hair grow, but trimming your hair helps you retain length. And at first I just was like, oh, I'm never gonna trim my hair. It's just, you know, doing too much and whatever. I don't need to trim my hair for my hair to grow. But being natural, I've also noticed that my hair responds better when I trim my ends or just dusting my ends. Yeah, like I said, when I trim my ends, it helps you retain length because your hair isn't getting tangled. I don't know what it is, what it's about, but maybe just because the ends are just a little bit dry and frazzled. Once you clip them off, it's easier to run your fingers through your hair. There's not a lot of friction, and friction creates hair loss. So like I said, trim your ends to retain your length so that your hair does not get tangled and break off. Yes, friction equals breakage, and you want as less friction and manipulation as possible. And my last tip is wash every week or a week and a half if you can. Just because I'm low porosity, so I don't want to wait too long to wash my hair, just because my hair will get so dry and brittle. Like when I try to do anything to it, it's just, you can tell, like it's just lifeless. And I mean, it's not like literally lifeless, but you know what I'm trying to say. At the end of the day, do not wait too long to wash your hair. You could possibly get wet scalp, you know, those things. It could just be a lot of things that could go super bad. You will experience more breakage than normal. Also, if you go a long period of time without combing your hair, you will notice that you have a lot of hair loss. But put this in perspective. We are supposed to lose 40 strands of hair a day. So if you don't comb your hair for a very long time, you will lose a lot of hair. So we want to keep this at a minimum. So please do not wait more than a week and a half to wash your hair. That is the end of all of my tips. I'm just briefly going to go over each one of them. So tip number 1, always use water, warm water. Tip number 2, clarify. Tip number 3, use apple cider vinegar once a month. Sis, once a month. It'll change your life. Number 4, more protective styles. Number 5, use oil. Number 6, deep condition. Number 7, use oil before you take down your hair. A lightweight oil, not a heavy oil. Number 8, always use sections. Number 9, make sure you use CoWash as a detangler. Number 10, do not always do wash and goes. Number 10, switch it up. Or was that number 11? Hold on. It was number 11. And number 11, switch it up. Number 12, trim your hair often. And number 13, wash your hair every week to week and a half. So that is all that I have for you guys today. I will see you guys tomorrow. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Join the Curly Girl gang. We lit over here. Big hair, big dreams, and even bigger goals. Period. I'll see y'all later.